Put that glow on.
Smart. Aw.
Oh my God.
There, Joanne, you get the crumbs.
Robin?
Okay, you ready?
Oh, wait till you weigh in.
This is rough weather ahead for Walter the farting dog. Those of you who missed the story at Huntington Beach, Walter was adopted by a family in Michigan, and they got him from the dog pound, and he was a great dog, except he farted voraciously. Well, this is for everyone who's ever felt misjudged or understood, or misunderstood. Professor Compressor knocked at the door. I understand your dog has a farting disorder. It's not a disorder, said Betty and Billy. Yes, it is, shouted Father. Come on in. Professor Compressor said, I've made a lifelong study of animal gas. He examined Walter, gently poking around his stomach. You better be careful, said Father. He farts when you do that. He won't fart at me. Will you, Walter? You got to see the pictures here. Walter farted.
Of
Professor
course.
Compressor staggered backward, waving his gas meter. 10.7, the highest I've ever recorded. What a remarkable animal. Walter was pleased to be called remarkable. He liked Professor Compressor and licked his hand.
Oh.
You're a good dog, Walter, said the professor, and I'm going to help you. He poked around some more. It's his digestion that causes his powerful farts. We don't mind, said Betty and Billy. Yes, we do, said Mother. Years of research had led me to the special formula, said Professor Compressor. Powders and potions appeared from his pockets. He plugged in a gleaming machine, mixed it in my compressotron, and served it fresh 3 times a day. We're so grateful, said Mother. So 3 times a day, Mother mixed the special formula in the compressotron. His farts aren't as bad, said Billy hopefully. They're worse than ever, said Father. And your father is right, said Mother. That night, Father decided to mix the formula himself. He examined the powders carefully. More of this, he decided, less of this, and a lot more of that. Father sniffed the new mixture and smiled. That's better. Tastes pretty good, said Walter to himself, and ate it faithfully every day. It's working, cried Mother. The air smells so fresh. Hurrah, said Betty. Walter was pleased too. Everyone was smiling. No one ran away when he came into the room, and Father even hugged him. However, inside Walter, gas was building up slowly. Oh, God. The dog's getting fat, said Father. It wasn't fat, it was farts, waiting to be set free. Professor Compressor's mixture and Father's expert touch were turning Walter into a blimp. Here's a picture of Walter floating in the living room. Walter began taking strange little bounces when he walked across the room. One evening he floated over Father's chair. Great jump, Walter, said Billy, but it wasn't a jump, it was gas. The following evening, Billy and Betty were in their room doing homework. Billy, she said, look outside. Billy and Betty raced out of the house. Walter was floating over the trees. Walter, come down, said Betty. But Walter couldn't come down. He floated on into town. Quite a view, he said to himself. Here's Walter over the town. A breeze came and blew him over to the other side of town. This is getting serious, said Walter. He knew the problem was gas, he knew. The solution was farting. He squeezed. He pressed his belly with his paws. He twisted into a knot. Nothing happened. He floated all night long. When morning came, he was high above the world. Mommy, the little girl said, look at the balloon. It's lost, said the little girl's mother. It will never come back. Walter floated for days. He floated over green hills and blue rivers. He floated over skyscrapers and farms. He floated in the dark and the rain. He felt lonely and cold. He went whichever way the wind carried him. Slowly the wind grew stronger and he wasn't alone any longer. The air around him was filled with the flutter of tiny frozen wings. Millions of butterflies were caught in a freezing windstorm. They had been on their way to their winter home when the storm took them by surprise. Poor butterflies, said Walter to himself. The wind was driving them down towards the frozen lake below. I've got to help them, thought Walter. He knew he had it in him if he could just get it out. He grunted, he groaned, he pressed. He looked into the little tiny insect faces. It was now or never. He let it rip. A blast of warm air lifted the butterflies out of their dive and melted the ice on their wings. It carried them to the far side of a mountain where the sun was shining. They touched down in a field of wildflowers. A forest ranger in his tower grabbed his two-way radio. I think those butterflies are going to be okay. Out of gas, Walter went down like a rocket. He splashed into a pond and doggy paddled to the shore. He shook himself dry, then he sniffed the air, he turned around and started the long walk home. He had gone only a little way when a ranger pulled up in his Jeep and said, "Can I give you a lift, Wonder Dog?" "Somebody sent us a big package," said Mother, looking out the window. "It's not a package," cried Billy. "It's Walter. See? I told you he'd find his way home." I think I missed something. Nope. "Oh, Walter," said Betty, "we're so glad you're back. Not as half as good as we are," said the delivery man. I guess that's it.
That's about as lucky as we get.
Walter got home.
Yay!
Published work.
Yes.
This is a New York Times best-selling
Yes.
book.
This is
And it's a series. That means there's more of them. There's more of them. That's your book.
Oh! I'll take it home. We found Walter. We actually have a little Walter at home, and when you squeeze him, he farts. He has 3 kinds of farts. We found him in a bookshop across the channel from Mackinac Island, and the boat pulled in there to pump its bilges or something, and we went to the bookstore, and I found Walter in the book. I remember it.
Walter the farting dog.
Yeah, that's where we found Walter.
Oh, Chip, you ought to write a book.